Hey, welcome to Flatirons Online. So glad that you joined us. We're in the middle of this series called Famous Last Words because we believe that everything you need to know about Jesus could be summed up in some of his last words he spoke here on this earth. If you have any questions or you need to connect with us, you can do that through our website or on any of our social media accounts. Thanks for watching.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Flatirons. So glad you're here. Let's stand. We're going to sing this song together. It talks about the freedom and the better life we find in Jesus. Let's sing it together. If you've been walking the same old road for miles and miles, if you've been hearing the same old voice tell the same old lies, if you're trying to fill the same old holes inside, well, there's a better life. Oh, there's a better life. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. And if you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom, a savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. 'Cause we've all searched for the light of day and dead of night. We've all found ourselves worn out from the same old fight. We've all run to things we know just ain't right. When there's a better life, oh, there's a better life. And you got pain, he's a pain taker. And if you feel lost, he's a way maker. And if you need freedom, a savior, he's a prison shaking savior. You got chains, oh, he's a chain breaker. If you believe it, if you receive it, and if you can feel it, somebody testify. If you believe it, if you receive it, oh, if you can feel it, somebody testify, testify. If you believe it, if you receive it, and if you can feel it, somebody testify. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. And if you feel lost, he's a way maker. And if you need freedom, a savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, oh, he's a chain breaker. And if you need freedom, a savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, oh, he's a chain breaker. I cast my mind to Calvary, where Jesus bled and died for me. I see his wounds, his hands, his feet, my Savior on that cursed tree. His body bound and drenched in tears, they laid him down in Joseph's tomb. entrance sealed by heavy stone, Messiah still and all alone. We sing this together this morning. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. Then on the third, at break of dawn, the Son of Heaven rose again. Oh, trample death, where is your sting? The angels roar for Christ the King. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. He shall return in robes of white. The blazing sun shall pierce the night, and I will rise among the saints, my gaze transfixed on Jesus' face. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Come on, sing. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord we sing his praises for all he's done for us. Come on, sing. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. Oh Lord our God. Good morning, Flatirons. Hey, so great to see you. Thank you for joining us today. We love if you just take a moment, greet someone next to you, say good morning, give them a fist bump, and you can take a seat.
Flatirons, what's going on? Good to see you guys. Everybody feeling pretty good? Doing all right? Happy Daylight Savings Time Day. Yeah, I don't like it either. Actually, half of us like it and half of us don't, because this is America 2020, so welcome. Hey, Tommy said to give a fist bump. I do want to say, some of us are scared of this virus that's going on. I also know from social media that half of you think we're dying tomorrow. And the other half of you think we're stupid for thinking that. So welcome to America, right? But I want to say this. I know we all have boundaries and fears, and some of us have compromised immune systems and stuff like that. Let's respect each other's space and stuff like that. And kind of like last night, I gave this guy a hug in the lobby, and he was repulsed. And it turns out it had nothing to do with the coronavirus, but he was repulsed. So let's take care of each other and make sure that we respect that. Who knows what's going to happen, right? But hey, I'm glad to see you. If you're new, if you're online, but if you're new especially, just thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your time watching on your computer or phone today. I'm Zach. I'm on staff here in Lafayette. I've been gone for a few weeks, so I'm so glad to be back. I had a lady last night tell me, she goes, hey, have you lost weight? And I was like, that's so kind of you. And she leaned forward and she said, I'm just being nice. So yeah, same old Zach is back, but I'm glad you guys are here. I got a couple things for us here in Lafayette. Everything I say is also online, so if you want to check it out on our website or follow the links or emails that are with me here, I would love for you to do that as well. So hey, first thing is this. A couple months ago, we took all of our kids ministry, our middle school and high school teams got together, and we started this brand new thing called family ministry here at Flatirons. There's a kiosk out there in the lobby. You just keep walking and walking down that lobby, and you'll eventually get to it. They have books there that it's really just designed for you and me to become better parents. They want to help us win as parents, and so they have some really great resources there. I want to share one resource with you today. And it's a small group. So it's a group for those of you in a parenting stage where you just need a little bit of help and maybe a community around you. It's called Hope for Hurting Parents. And what they're doing is that they're kind of collecting a small group. So maybe you're a parent with a kid who's dealing with some addiction issues or anger issues, emotional issues, self-harm, identity issues, sexual issues, whatever that might look like. And you just need some people around you that understand and want to be there for you. It's not prescriptive. They're not going to fix anybody. It's nothing like that. It's just a place for us to get support and come around each other as a church family. So if you're in that spot, I would love for you to go meet Val Bush, who's down there. She's an amazing woman. She would love to meet you guys and talk about that. But maybe you're also a parent who's been through some of those fires and feel like you have a little bit to give other families. She'd also love to meet you in that case as well. So go out there, walk down the lobby until you run into Val and ask her about Hope for Hurting Parents. No one's laughed at this week, if I still like it. You Are Not Alone, great Michael Jackson song, also a great mantra. So go check that out down there in the lobby. Second thing is this. Last week, Jesse shared this. If you missed it or you weren't here, we have something coming up that I think is one of the greatest things that we do at this church. It's called Grief Workshop. Here's why I think it's so great. Yesterday, I did a funeral for a friend of mine. It's like something like the 72nd funeral I've done in the last couple of years here at Flatirons, because there's a lot of us, and I know that just scratches the surface of how much is going on in each one of our lives. And Grief Workshop is designed for those of us who have lost somebody to death, and it's maybe just still there, and we can't figure out what to do with it, how to get past it, or what to do. Grief Workshop is for you if that describes you in any way at all. So next Saturday, we're trying something brand new, and we're doing it as a seminar. It goes from 9 to 3 in the West End. You can follow that link. If you're online and maybe you're nearby, you can follow that link and check it out. It's also going to birth some small groups that will help you in whatever the specific case is for you to find people that can be there with you and walk through this journey with you. Carl Shackelford is the guy that runs this thing. I'm telling you, one of my best friends will tell you that he literally say my life was saved by going through this in a period of his own life. So please check that out if that describes you at all. Okay? Hey, we got one more song that's about to play here in a second. Guys, I've known Jim for almost a decade of my life. I've never seen the man happier than during this song right now. So I hope you enjoy this song. Watch Taylor over here. His guitar lit on fire last night. That's how fast he was playing. And Chris over here is like a ninja. He's like a baby Yoda grown up on that keyboard back there. So check that out. But real quick, we're going to watch a video together. If you guys are new or haven't been around that long, we have a partner in Uganda called Musana. And Musana is an organization that is changing that country. They're one of the top educational institutes in the entire country. What they're doing for the families and kids in Uganda is unparalleled. I asked Andrea and Haril if they'd shoot a video updating us as a church on what Musana is up to right now. So check this out with me.
Hi everyone, this is Andrea and Haril. We're the founders and directors of Musana Community Development Organization in Uganda. We want to give you a quick update of all the things that have been happening in Uganda the last year. In 2018, as some of you may know, we reached our goal of being 100% self-sustaining, meaning all of our operations in Uganda were sustained with locally generated income. Because of this, we had this big vision of seeing Musana replicated in new communities around Uganda. We had a big event in August this past year called Taste to Transform. If you were there, thank you for coming. We raised enough money to begin our replication process. So in the middle of October, we began building a new school. And this is crazy, but we opened that school the first week of February. And right now we have almost 700 kids going to school for the first time. We are so thankful for all the support that you guys gave towards that. In total right now at Musana, we have 3,500 students in all of our schools. One thing that we're trying to do is integrate kids with special needs, which is why right now outside of Flatirons, you might see a big purple container. And this container is being transformed into a classroom for special needs kids. So everyone at Flatirons can be a part of this project. Every Saturday we meet to do different renovations and painting, and I think you saw some of the handprints on the container. So we'd love you to join us in being a part of that.
Yeah, and I just want to say on behalf of everyone in Uganda at Musana, thank you so much for working alongside us and building Musana and impacting so many lives. We just want to continue asking you to pray for us and continue working with us as we continue to grow this impact in Uganda and probably the rest of the world. Thank you so much.
We love you.
Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Once I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion. I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming, and I can hear them say, carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head Don't you cry. Don't you cry no more.
I want to take my shirt off and fight someone. That's what I want to do. So good. Just when you think it's over, there's another guitar solo. It's just, so good. Now that's how you have church, all right? Right, we just close and go on home, all right? So for everybody who was born under a rock who doesn't know that song was Carry On My Wayward Son by a group called Kansas. The band is much better than the state. We all agree. This is true, right? Which brings up, of course, I know, and I want to welcome all of our visitors and online and across the world and Lyman, all our brothers out there. Listen, but a lot of us, especially if you grew up in church and left church, or you just don't really know what's going on here, you're asking yourself this question: why are you playing a rock and roll song from 1976 in the house of the Lord? Why are you doing that? 2 reasons. One is we just want to. It's our church. We can do what we want. And we dig it. It's really good music. And the other, the real answer, though, is because that song is the 1976 version of one of the most famous stories that you can find in the entire Bible. And we're going to look at it today. It's the story of called the Prodigal Son, if you've ever heard of that. And some literary experts, Christian and non-Christian, they regard the story about the Prodigal Son as the best short story ever written. Right? Whether you believe in God or not, it's just the best story ever written. And we'll get to that in just a minute, so just hang on to that, all right? So last week, if you weren't here, Ben kicked off this brand new series. It's going all the way to Easter called Famous Last Words, where we are looking into the last words, the last phrases that Jesus uttered while he was hanging on the cross. While he was being crucified on the cross, which he claimed the reason he was going to be crucified on the cross, he says, if I do that, it will pay for the price or the wage or the penalty for all sin, all mistakes, for all time, for all people who have just a little bit of faith. What do you mean by a little bit of faith? Have a little bit of concept of the idea that Jesus is who he says he is and can keep every promise that he's ever made. You put your faith in me and I'll take away all your condemnation, which is a pretty bold statement. I mean, really. And the only reason to believe like such an outrageous claim, if he was able to actually keep another promise, like, I don't know, nail me to a cross, stick me in a hole, and 3 days later, I'll rise from the dead. If he can keep that promise, maybe we should pay attention to all the other stuff he said as well, right? But where we're looking at today, that hadn't happened yet. He hasn't been buried. He hasn't resurrected from the dead. No, we're going to pick up right where he is nailed to a wooden cross, and he's just a few minutes from death. And the reason that we're paying so much attention to those famous last words leading up to Easter, which is about a month from now, right, is that we believe that if we listen to what Jesus says up there on the cross, we can see and hear from Jesus what kind of God we have. What kind of God would do something like that for people like us? So again, last week, Ben looked at the first statement to come out of his mouth. Right after they nailed him to a cross, he looked down and this is what he said: Father, so he's praying, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing, right? And the description of the kind of God that we have is the kind of God who kind of looks and says, okay, this needs to be done. This is necessary. It has to be done now. right? While we're still lost, while we're still confused, before anything changes in our life, Jesus says, I need to do something now so that later everything is ready and in place when you need it. That's the kind of God we have. So the kind of God we have, this is a phrase we kind of landed on last week. Our God leads with grace. And this is what I mean by grace. He offers as a free gift forgiveness, permanent forgiveness, ongoing forgiveness, not just for your past, but your screw-ups tomorrow. They're already kind of pre-forgiven. That's called grace. It's ongoing. So he always leads with grace, and then he follows with truth. And it's not all at once. He doesn't give you all the truth all at once. It's progressive. It's just too much, all right? But it's lifelong truth. It's life-changing truth, and it comes a little bit at a time. And it's not one or the other. Pick grace or truth. Because here's the truth, right? Grace without truth doesn't change anything. Just, grace and forgiveness, and everybody love everybody and hold hands, sing kumbaya. That sounds nice. It just doesn't change anybody. Right? But truth without grace is just mean. Right? We've been hammered with truth. We've been beaten up with God's word, a lot of us, right? It just doesn't do any good. You have to have both. But grace always comes first, or you can't hear the truth. Grace always precedes truth. So we're going to pick up right where we left off last week after Jesus has said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And he offers this amazing gift to all those people around. I got to forgive everything. Just trust me just a little bit. And you would think that all the people listening to him would look up at Jesus and go, well, we're wrong about him. He's really good. We should really pay attention to him. That's not the response. Not quite anyway. So we're going to pick up in the very next verse, all right? So there are four, they call them the Gospels, or the biographies of Jesus: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We're going to be in Luke. We're going to be in chapter 23, and this is right after Jesus has just said what he said last week. So this is what's happening. The people stood watching, big crowd, and the rulers even sneered at him, at Jesus. They said, he saved others. Let him save himself if he is the Christ of God, the chosen ones, all right? So those are the guys who kind of orchestrated the whole thing. And then the soldiers who nailed him to the cross, they get in on it, all right? The soldiers also came up and they mocked him. They offered him wine vinegar and said, if you're the king of the Jews, save yourself. And then there was this written notice nailed above his head, which read this. You got to read the sarcasm in it. This is the king of the Jews. Now, I have a confession to make, okay? I've thought long and hard about this. I'm going to break your hearts, okay? I have decided that I think Jesus is a better person than me. I know some of you going, no, Jim. Yes, he's a better, because I'm telling you, if I was up there on that cross that day, in that moment, I'm watching all these people do what they're doing, I would have come off that cross and somebody's going to get their butt kicked. I promise, all right? I'm coming off the cross and going, who's king now, baby, right? I'm not a good person, all right? At least I would have thought, maybe I should invent nuclear weapons now. Boom, right? So that's just me. Pray for me. I have a hard heart. Jesus is better than me, all right? But here's what I'd say. I think it's really, really important to note the level of hostility that's being thrown at Jesus at this moment. Why? I mean, all he has offered to do is forgive everything, give love and grace and forgiveness and unlimited access to God, right? That's all he's done, all right? Something else is going on to get this much anger and hostility aimed at a guy who says, let's just all love one another and be together. This is more than a political or even a theological difference. This is like the ultimate showdown between good and evil. It really is. This is the moment. This is like, well, Satan thinks this is my moment. Again, I don't know how much you know about the spiritual realms and stuff like that, but Satan's like, I hate God. I can't get to God. I tried that once. That didn't work out well for me. So I know I will destroy the thing that God loves the most. What's God love the most? People that are made in his image. He loves us. People that are made in his likeness. I can't destroy God. I'll destroy the next best thing. And then here comes this Jesus guy who thinks he can ruin my plan. We'll see. See, this is really, really, really important, okay? Again, I don't know how much you know about the spiritual realms, but Satan knew, still does, he knew who Jesus was. They had met. They had spoken, right? And Satan knew what Jesus claimed and promised to be able to do, right? But it hadn't happened yet. And here's the other thing. Satan is not the opposite of God. He's not all powerful, but on the evil side. He's not all knowing, but on the evil side. He's not all present, but on the evil side. No. He thinks he knows what's about to happen, but he doesn't know for sure if Jesus can pull it off. So this is like the final seconds of the big game, and Satan comes at Jesus with everything. I mean, it's already been a bad day. Jesus has already been stripped naked in front of the entire city, He's had all the flesh ripped off his back with a whip. He'd been marched through the streets of Jerusalem as people punched him and spit on him. And then on a garbage pile outside of Jerusalem, he has a spike through each wrist and then one that goes through his feet. But that's not enough. Now it's time to gloat. Hey, Jesus, you lose. You lose. This is your king of the Jews? Do you call this a king? This is, okay, all you people of God, this is what you've been waiting on from God? This is your Savior? Some son of God. Hey, son of God, save yourself. Save the human garbage nailed on every side of you. So let me clear something else. See, a lot of people, when they read the Bible, you think that Jesus was the only person crucified. And the truth is, when Rome, this is history, when Rome invaded any part of the world, they nailed anybody who disagreed with them to a cross. They lined the roads with crosses. And on that day, I don't know how many there were, but there's Jesus, and then he had a criminal nailed on each side of him. And one of those criminals looks at him and sees what's going on and says, I'm getting in on this, so here's what happens next. One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at Jesus. Aren't you the Christ? Save yourself and save us. Now, don't give this guy too much credit, all right? This is not a confession of faith. This is not, are you the Christ? Will you be my Lord? No. This is a selfish, self-serving insult. Hey, Christ, or whatever you are, do something. Work some magic, do some spiritual voodoo and get me out of this. This is not faith. This is not humble. This is not an ask for grace or forgiveness. This is simply, hey, I'm not sorry for anything. I just need you to bail me out of this and get me off this cross so I can go back to what I was doing before, right? That's all I want. Just bail me out. I don't want anything to change. But there's another criminal, all right? He's paying attention. He sees something different. The other criminal rebuked him. Don't you fear God, he said, since you're under the same sentence? And I don't know how it worked. Maybe he looked down the line of crosses and went, dude, shut up. It's not a good time, man. I mean, hey, you're about to die. Think about this. The stakes are really high right now. You might want to rethink all your pride rather than just die in your arrogance. And here's why. See, we're getting punished justly. We have this coming, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. We broke the law. We knew what the law said. We knew this could happen. We did it. We're guilty. But this man, Jesus, has done nothing wrong. And now we're getting close to faith. Basically, this guy is doing math in his head and goes, I have enough faith to realize, Jesus, that you are something else. You're something different. You're something more. You're connected to something more, and I'm not. But I want to be. I want to be connected to you. So because of that, I don't have a lot of faith. I have this little bitty 5-minute-old understanding of watching and listening to you. So I have a question hanging up here beside you. It goes like this. And he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And, hey, Jesus, when all this plays out, and I think I know how this ends, about an hour from now, I'm just going to be dead. Rather than get what I know that I deserve, I have a big ask here. Could I be with you instead? Wherever you're going, I don't know the kingdom thing. Well, I heard about that, right? I don't know what that means, but can I just be with you, right? And look at the response. Jesus answered him, I tell you the truth, which is just Bible for, I promise, man. Today, you will be with me in paradise. Think about that. See, what Jesus says to the criminal nailed beside of him is this. Today, after you die, later today, because you have a little bit of faith, it's only, again, 5 minutes old, I'll give you my word, I promise, you're going to be with me. You notice what he didn't say? He didn't say, let me think about it. Okay, if you promise to live better and stop stealing from now on, right? There is no from now on. From now on, it's about an hour. And then they're going to put him in a hole, right? There's no, I'll try to be a better person, I promise, and I'm really sorry, and I'll make it up. No, you won't. You know you won't. How are you going to make it up? You're nailed to a cross. He simply says this, hey, Jesus, I'm a guilty criminal. I know what I deserve. I deserve what's coming to me. I'm just asking with a little bit of faith. Instead, could I just be with you? And Jesus responds, yes, absolutely. I promise. We're just going to get through the next couple hours, and then he will be with me in paradise. This man looks at a hopeless situation and saw his options, and I would say, and hang on to this phrase, can we come back to it? He came to his senses. And he didn't know how this was going to work out. When he looked over to Jesus and said, can I be with you? All right, probably assuming the answer from Jesus would be, nice try, buddy. Nice try. Little late. Should have thought about that before they got nailed up here, right? But no. Hey, I deserve punishment. Can I be with you? Absolutely, yes. And the criminal died. Don't know his name, don't know where he's from. But if Jesus really does keep his promise, here's what we can assume. That criminal is with Jesus in paradise right now. He's totally forgiven and he's in good standing with God. Now, you know what? When I say stuff like that, you know what happens? It's happening to some of you listening to my voice right now, especially if you're religious. Religious people lose their minds. They're like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that. That's not fair, which I agree. I'm really thankful too. Here's church language, all right? Jim, that's cheap grace. If you go around saying stuff like that Jesus accepts and forgives people just as they are while they're still sinning, before they change anything in their life, people will take advantage of that and they'll just start saying that they believe, but they really won't believe and they won't change. They'll just use Jesus as a get out of hell free card. They'll give him permission to keep on doing whatever they want and doing the same old stuff, but they're not really sincere. What they're saying, what a lot of us have said in the past, is Jesus shouldn't forgive people like that until they prove that they're really serious about it. They're proven serious about what they believe and therefore prove they're worth saving. What makes religious people mad is this, and I'm gonna put a big paragraph on the screen behind me here in a second, and I like to say this is what some of you religious people do, but you know what? I know I'm guilty of this in my past. See if you've ever thought or said something like this. I may not be perfect, but I've been following and serving Jesus for years, and then some sinner asks for forgiveness 5 minutes before they die, and you say that we both get the same forgiveness and reward? You ever thought about that? And here's a response, and you don't say it out loud, you look like a jerk. Here's what you're thinking in your head. That's not fair. It's not, and I agree with you. Does anybody want fair? Yeah, I couldn't handle fair because I know it's coming to me. So let me jump to my favorite. So probably one of the most famous, my favorite chapter maybe in the whole Bible are these 3 stories that Jesus tells back to back that they all have in common, where something gets lost and then somebody goes and looks for it, and when they find it, they pick it up and they bring it home, all right? Now, I have taught Luke chapter 15, those 3 stories. I've taught them, I don't know how many times. I've taught them all over the world. But the thing is that I've missed most of my life, or I've just jumped over it to get to the 3 stories, is this, and it's found in the first 2 verses, is that why did Jesus tell these stories in the first place? Why did Jesus tell these stories? And you're going to get some obvious parallels about what Jesus has done and still does for people like us. But the reason Jesus tells these stories is in response to a bunch of religious people complaining about the people that Jesus doesn't just call friends, but calls close friends. Like hangout friends, go to party friends, eat dinner friends. Earlier I said have sleepover friends, but that felt weird. But just buddy, like these are my best friends. And religious people are looking going, whoa. We don't like that. So Luke chapter 15, I'm gonna read the whole chapter. And this is a lot of Bible verses, right? And I'm gonna do my very best. I'm trying to do this with a straight face, to just read it straight without any commentary. But I haven't done well so far. But I'm gonna do my best, all right? And so you can read this when you get home, but he says, okay, we're gonna go. Here. Now the tax collectors, now I do have to stop right there. And don't judge me, all right? This is important, all right? So when you read the Bible a lot, you'll see that phrase tax collectors in there a lot. And you're like, what's that mean? Like IRS? No, worse. And here's what I mean by that, is that when the Roman Empire, this is history, when the Roman Empire would move in and invade a country, they would hire local people. And so that's what happened in Israel, right? So the tax collectors are Jewish people that turned their backs on their people, on their faith, on their religion, on their family, and they went and worked for Rome, and they taxed and overtaxed their own people and exploited their own people for Rome, okay? They were the most hated people in town. They betrayed everything, family, faith, country, everything. They were hated. And Jesus is eating dinner with them. Okay, so now the tax collectors and sinners, and I have to stop there too, but we're gonna roll after this, I promise. So anytime, you're so judgmental. So anytime, especially in the Matthew, Mark, Luke part, John part of the Bible, whenever you see the word sinners, most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, that's referring to sexual sin. Sexual failure. And if you read it going, a sinner came and threw herself at his feet or whatever that is, usually that morally they've just fallen apart. And so here the people that are coming around Jesus are people that have betrayed everything important to them and people that are really sexually broken. They're just trying to look for Jesus, all right? So now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus, but the Pharisees and teachers of the law, religious people, they muttered, "This man, Jesus, welcomes sinners and eats with them." And Jesus can hear you. Write that down. It's like, oh, he's listening. All right, so then Jesus told them, the religious people, this parable. And a parable, this is the definition I got when I was a little kid in Sunday school. A parable is an earthly story, so we're going to look at stuff, sheep and stuff like that, but it actually has a spiritual meaning. And that's what Jesus does all the time. You don't understand the spiritual stuff, let me compare it to some everyday thing, and then you connect the dots, okay? Right? So suppose, here's the story, story number one. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. What would you do? Does he not leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep till he finds it? Of course. And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." Here we go. I tell you that in the same way. So I'm not really talking about sheep. I'm talking about people, right? But in the same way as sheep, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sexually broken person who's betrayed everything important to them, that kind of person who repents, rethinks what they want their life to be about, than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. And just so you know, at the end of the service, we're going to sing a song that talks about Jesus leaving the 99 to go find the one, and it's because he has this reckless love, and every time we sing reckless love, religious people email me and say, "I think it's irresponsible to call God reckless." Shut up, all right? I mean, please, all right? It's like, there's more important, never mind. And so, all right, so story number two. I'm gonna get emails about that, and I don't care. All right, so suppose, here's story number two. Suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. So this is a woman, she had 10, I don't know what the currency is, she had 10 of them, and she had one lost, so she lost 1/10 of her income. Does she not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? Of course she does. And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin." Here it is. In the same way, I'm not talking about coins. I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. I got to rethink my life. Not talking about coins, I'm talking about people. Okay, story number three, in case those two didn't land with you. Jesus continued, there was a man who had 2 sons. This is a great story. The younger one said to his father, "Father, give me my share of the estate." So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off to a distant country, and there squandered his wealth, and I want to look at this, in wild living. And in the Greek there, it means he lost his mind. He took everything he had and went as far as he could go with no limits. He had no boundaries. He did things that he never thought he would do. He went as deep as he could afford, and then some more. Right? And some of us going, I've been on that trip, right? So he blew it out, lost his mind, no regard for any consequences, right? Some of us have been there. So after, this is a game changer, after he spent everything, I'm broke, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. Context, you got a Jewish kid in a pig pen. Now, I don't know if you know much about the Jewish faith, but he's at rock bottom. Because he's even associated with this kind of slime, he's disqualified from God, he's disqualified from country, he's disqualified from family. He's dirty, and he knows it. And he's hungry. Look at this. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating. So if anything fell out of the pig's mouth into the manure, he was going to try to eat it, but no one gave him anything. Now, I got to tell you this, right? This next verse, favorite verse in the Bible, because of that phrase right there. It says this, and when he came to his senses, it literally translates this, when he remembered who he was. Have you ever forgotten who you are? You ever gotten so lost, going, I don't know who I am anymore? And you're just in a pig pen. So he came to his senses, I gotta think different. He said, And he said to himself, because nobody's there except pigs, all right? So he's having an internal conversation. You ever have internal conversations in your head where you're going, well, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, all right? And I'm on meds, and I do this all the time, all right? He's having an internal conversation in a pig pen. Here's what he's saying to himself, all right? He says, how many of my father's hired men have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I need a plan. I will set out, and I'll go back to my father, and I'll say to him, and this is the rehearsal, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. I've screwed up so bad, I can never be your son. Maybe I could be like one of your hired men. Maybe I could be a slave. So he got up and he went to his father. Now, time out here. At this point in the story, all right, the only thing that has changed in the universe, right, is this son, this boy, he has changed his mind. I gotta think different. And he changed the direction of his face. Nothing else has changed. Right? Nothing has changed. He's still literally covered in pig crap, all right? And in my notes, I had a different word in there, and my wife said, you can't say that in church, but I'm thinking it. I am, because my grandpa used to have a hog farm, and crap doesn't really do it justice, all right? So he's covered in pig crap, and he's still hungry, he's starving to death, and he's still broke, and he's still guilty of everything he's done wrong, and he still knows what he deserves and what he doesn't deserve. I can never be a son again. Maybe I could be a slave, but I have no idea. See, the thing is, the only thing that has changed is his mind and the direction of where he's gonna look to maybe stay alive. And here's the other aha moment with this story I've never really thought about. He has no idea if it's gonna work. Think about it. He has no idea what's gonna happen when he gets home, if there's gonna be a reception or not, all right? All he knows, he thinks he knows, he's trying to remember is, I have, or at least I used to have, a really good father he's the kind of father who would at least maybe let me live in the barn with the animals. That's the most I'm even hoping for, right? So pick it up. But while he was still a long way off, because nothing's changed, he's still dirty and he's not even home yet, all right? While he was still a long way off, his father saw him, because he was looking for him, and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son and threw his arms around him and he kissed him. The son said, here comes the speech, right? Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son, but the father. And that's a good phrase, isn't it? Yeah. But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a barbecue. Let's have a feast and celebrate. Why? For this son of, what's the next word? This is my son. And he never stopped being my son, even when he was in the pig pen. Still my kid. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. Isn't that a great story? That's a great story, except you got to remember, why did Jesus tell this story in the first place? And the answer is because religious people are angry with Jesus about his friendship with that boy. With boys like that, with sinners, with dirty people. And Jesus, I'm really angry with you, Jesus, that you're way too generous with grace and forgiveness. That's what's going on here. So here's the rest of the story. It'd be great if it ended there, but it just doesn't. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. Remember, 2 sons. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing, so he called one of the servants and asked, what's going on? Your brother has come, he replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. Here's a good response. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But the son answered his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you. You do the math here. I got one son who says I've screwed up so bad I can't be a son. Maybe I can be a slave. I got another son going, I have slaved so hard I deserve to be a son. They're both wrong. The only way either one of them gets to be a son is because they have a good father, right? I never disobeyed your orders, yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, that's what kind of son you have. When he comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. This is in the Bible, I just put it in. Not fair. You just write that in the margin of your Bible, it's okay, all right? Response from the father. My son, the father said, you're always with me and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of, what's the next word? This is your brother. He's a mess. He's still your brother. He was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And the story ends there. And we never know if the older brother went in the house and said, come here, bro. I am glad you're home. No. No bow on the end of this at all. Jesus just ends the story right there. And I think he makes long, extended, really like uncomfortable eye contact with the religious people. Then does a mic drop and goes, peace out. And then he just walks out of the room. That's not in the Bible, but it should be. All right, so, and then he goes back to hit the people who actually want to learn from him. Now there are a lot of lessons and applications you can pull out of those 4 stories. A thief on the cross, a lost sheep, a lost coin, and a lost son. And I'll be honest with you, maybe one of them hit you. You're going, that's me. That's not that one, but that one is me. And I believe in the kind of God that can arrange the universe for you to hear that. And that may be what's happening right now. So let's lean into it. So I carved out 3 or 4 takeaways for this, and then we're gonna sing that song about leaving the 99, and then we're gonna get out of here, all right? So this is deep, this is philosophy. You're gonna be sitting like, oh, sensei, speak more. This is really, really deep stuff about sheep. Watch this, all right? So lesson number 1, sheep get lost and stay lost until somebody cares enough to go and find them. That's just true. Sheep, they just get lost. If anybody comes up and go, dude, you are smart as a sheep, not a compliment, right? You're like a lamb. Wow. Thing. No, they just get lost, and they stay lost unless somebody goes and gets them and brings them home. And Jesus says this, I'm looking for you. And take out you there and insert your name. I've been looking for you, and when I find you, my goal is not to punish you, right? My job is not to lecture you about how you made a dumb sheep decision, right? No. I've been looking for you, and when I find you, I want to joyfully carry you back to where you are safe. And here's what Jesus says happens when he does that, and when you do that, and when you all meet. All of heaven has a party because you're safe. That's what the Bible says. And we're not talking about sheep. According to Jesus, it's true for you. You turn your face towards Jesus, and heaven has a party. Lesson number 2, again, deep philosophy. Coins don't lose themselves. Oh, yeah, that's true, right? I mean, no coins, got up one day and go, I'm going on the couch cushion. That didn't happen, all right? Coins get lost because somebody wasn't taking good care of the coin, and they either dropped it and forgot about it and it rolled out of sight and nobody knows where it is anymore. That's just what happens, right? The other part of that, the flip side of that, is coins don't unlose themselves. This deep stuff, isn't it? Somebody has to go and do the hard work. Like, what do you mean? Like sweep the whole house? Yeah, if that's what it takes to find it. And when they do find it, we're not talking about coins anymore. When Jesus finds you and you're back with Jesus where he wants you, this is what it says, that God throws a party. The angels of God throw a party in heaven. I used to think heaven was a bunch of harp music and clouds. Not a fan. I'm not. But apparently this is the greatest party of the universe, and I want to go to that. Because that's what's waiting on us. I like that kind of heaven. So you follow me? So let me just kind of sum this up, all right? Again, sometimes you get lost because you didn't know what you were doing. That's a lot of our stories. Kind of like a sheep. I don't know. I was just going over there. I thought it was okay. It's no big deal. Then I turn around. I don't know where I am, and I don't know how to get home. That's some of our stories. I'm not throwing stones at anybody. We got lost. Sometimes you get lost because somebody else didn't know what they were doing. Somebody was supposed to take care of you and protect you and keep you close, and they didn't. They dropped you. Right? And you got forgotten, and the whole world landed on you. And now you're like it or not, I am broken and lost. Yeah. You're not throwing stones at anybody. That happens. Either way, Jesus has been looking for you to joyfully bring you back to safety. Maybe that's why you're here today. Listen to my voice. Lesson number 3 goes like this. This is going to make some of you mad. That's what I do. But sometimes you get lost because you decide to do something stupid. All right, so, well, Jim, that's not politically correct. And you hurt my feelings by calling me stupid. I didn't call you stupid. I said you did something stupid, right? It's just true. It's stupid. And you look around going, yeah, it's kind of dumb, right? See, listen, there is no argument that the son made a dumb decision, right? That he should have known better, or that he really blew it. If you want to build an argument about how the son was wrong and stupid, you win. You win, right? But at a critical moment, when this kid's changing his mind, he says, I want something different and I want to go home. In that moment, what does he need most? He might need a lot of things. What does he need most in that moment? And the answer is he needs to hear, yes, it's not too late to come home. That's what he needs to hear. He needs to hear stuff like, welcome home. I'm glad you're back. He needs to experience grace and forgiveness. It'll be followed by truth because the truth will uncover what's broken in his life that made him choose to leave in the first place, because we all have a reason why we left. We all have a reason. When Jesus isn't even beating you up for that. He's just saying, yeah, you have your reasons. It just didn't work out, so just come on back to me. Truth will come later, but you're not going to even understand truth unless you get a little grace and forgiveness right now. Welcome home. Isn't that what you need from God and from the people around you in your life? I do. You know what nobody needs? Nobody, that kid or anybody listening to my voice right now. You know what none of us need, and none of us came to church for this. We didn't come here to get lectured. I've been in that church. I didn't come to have a finger put in my chest and rehash all the stuff that I have done wrong and how, Jim, you should have known better. I know. Guilty, right? I was talking to the staff down at 180 Ministries. I talked about I was going to speak at their banquet, and I did that Friday. And so I hung out with them last week, and they deal with men that are battling with and coming out of substance addiction, everything from booze to heroin, all right? And I love how Kyle, one of their pastors, he put this. I was talking to him, and he says, hey, Jim, when men show up at our center looking for help, it's not our job, it's not our desire to make them feel like they're a piece of crap. And I don't mean crap, but my wife, all right? You know why? You don't need to tell them they're a piece of crap. They already know it. I know. Our job is to show them that even though they've done some crappy things. And see the difference in that? I'm not a piece of crap. I'm an image bearer of God who's did some crappy things. Very different thing. But no matter what I've done, I have a Father who loves me right now as I am, before anything changes, and wants me to have a better life with him from now on, forever, and in paradise, and for all eternity. So really, lesson number 3 goes more like this. This would be a good screensaver right here. If you're lost, and that's the first song we sang today, he's a waymaker, right? If you're lost and you're tired of living in a pig pen, what am I going to do? Change your mind. Nothing changes until you change your mind. And then turn your heart and your face towards Jesus, because he's been looking for you. He's waiting for you right now, and he wants you back today. I believe that's why God brought a lot of you to hear this talk today, because you forgot. And you thought he was mad at you. He thought he was done with you because people told you that he was, and they're wrong. They lied to you. Jesus is saying, I want you back. I want you back. So let's get to lesson number 4. It's the reason that Jesus told these 3 stories, and then we'll get out of here. And the reason that he was being mocked while he hung there on the cross, right? And it's this: self-righteous religious people. And time out here. If anything I say applies to your life and you're going, well, that kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, good. Please lean in if I'm talking to you. Self-righteous religious people think that they're better than sinners, and Jesus doesn't. Self-righteous religious people forget that we are all 100% saved by grace through faith, and not by anything that we have done right or anything that we stopped doing wrong. It's all Jesus. It's from Jesus. It's by Jesus, and we don't earn any of it. It is a gift. Self-righteous people don't like that. Self-righteous religious people, they don't even like sinners. Jesus loves them. The sinnier, the better. I mean, he just digs sinful people, right? Self-righteous religious people, they don't think about it. They don't care. You know what? You go to church enough, eventually you don't even think you know any, right? Any sinners. Jesus does, thinks about us all the time. Self-righteous religious people think that this church is primarily for them, and it's not. Heads up, it's not your church. It's not mine either. See, self-righteous religious people don't want people, sinners, in their church. Jesus does. As a matter of fact, he said the reason that I started my church was for the purpose. The only reason a church, and I'm not even responsible for all the churches. I'm just responsible for this one. The purpose of this church is seeking and saving, going and searching, sweeping and finding, waiting and watching for the lost, the very lost, the lost sheep, the lost coin, the lost son, and the convicted criminal hanging on a cross, and he doesn't have time to change. This is who we are. And the reason he did everything there is so that one day he could say to each of them and each one of us, I promise, you can be with me. I promise today and from now on in paradise. I want to clear something up real quick. And I have to do this every couple of years, and it's not real politically correct, and I want to be sensitive, but let me clarify something, all right? For years, before we were like 6 campuses and online and all this crazy stuff, all right? We just had this one little campus in a feed store, all right? And we only had one thing in our lobby. It was a black shirt that said "Me Too" on it. And now listen, I know that in today's world, that statement has taken on a whole new meaning, and I in no way, I don't want to be insensitive to that. I don't want to be dismissive of all the pain and injustice that is rooted in that phrase. I honor it. I honor it. Personally, I can relate to it. But here's what it's always meant at Flatirons. And the way I always explain this Me Too thing is that I make this up, but I think I'm close. I think when you get to heaven in those first 5 minutes, all of us are going to experience very, very similar things. First of all, when you get to heaven, there's going to be a long line of people like from high school going, "Are you serious? You made it. Wow." I mean, I get that all the time on Facebook. "Dude, you're a pastor? I thought you were dead." I don't know. Right? Some of you are going, yeah, and college. So that'll pass. And then I think this is going to happen. Somebody's going to look at you and go, "Hey, how'd you get here? How did you get here?" And here's the only answer that's really truthful. I was lost. Jesus came looking for me. He cut me a sweet deal, and he invited me to come and be with him, to which the only rational response is to look back and go, "Yeah, me too." And that's where that comes from. Hey, Flatirons, listen, every once in a while, Jesus would look out and clean house and go, "Maybe this isn't the right church for you." So I want to make some things really, really clear. The moment that we ever forget that the only way any of us gets to be with Jesus is not because we became religious, please don't. Not because we started doing more good things to offset something bad. The only way that we get to be as God, and with just a little bit of faith, and I'm not in charge of how much that is, and neither are you. Apparently, it's a little bit of 5-minute, nailed to a cross kind of faith. Doesn't really take a lot, but we just ask him, instead of getting what I deserve, "Jesus, could I be with you, and will you be with me?" And his response is, "I promise, right now, you can be with me from now on all the way into paradise." And the moment we forget that, then we have forgotten the most important thing, and we have nothing to offer to the world anymore. We ought to close our doors. But I'm saying this is where we're going. And sometimes when a church, we grow and grow and we get really, really comfortable, we forget about why we exist. And I'm back on target. And I have a sheep and a coin and a sun in my head, in my heart. Do you? And they need to know that God didn't hate them. Listen, I'm off notes now. I'm just going, right? Is there somebody in your life who's going, "Hey, listen, I have an aha. This is just so religious. Listen to this. Heaven and hell are real places, and everybody's going to spend eternity in one or the other based on what they did with Jesus. And if we have the truth, we got to share it. Not because they're bad, because Jesus is good, right? So I'm going to close with some statements, and if you agree with me at all of our campuses or the buddies at Lyman's, I want everybody to stand up right now, all right? And I'm going to make some statements, and if you agree with me on that, if you can relate to me with any of those, and if you want this to be your mission too, all I want you to say back to me is, "Me too," right? So I'll go first. Sometimes I get lost. And sometimes I feel very forgotten. And sometimes I feel very dirty, ashamed, and stupid. Yeah. Then Jesus came looking for me. Yeah, he did. And Jesus always remembered me. Yeah, he did. And then Jesus ran toward me and welcomed me home. And Jesus cut me a sweet deal of grace and forgiveness. It's the only way I got in. Jesus promised me today I can be with him in paradise. Yes, he did. You know what you call that? Good news. Good news that can change the world, change families, change hearts, change marriages, change kids, change addiction. And I want to go there. So God, in this moment right now, we have we have a whole bunch of internal conversations because some of us are sitting in pig pens right now, and we're arguing with you, saying stuff like this. But what about this, and what about that, and I did this, and I'm so far gone, and I've done this, and I'm so horrible, and I think I'm beyond saving. And then you wade into the mess with us, and you say, I'm right here. I've been looking for you for a long time. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to punish you. I actually like to pick you up and carry you back home with me where you're safe, not just in heaven after I die, but right now, starting right now. Paradise can come to us right now through your son, Jesus Christ. Who does that? Who leaves the 99 and goes after someone like us? And the answer is a reckless God. A God who throws all caution to the wind and all the you shoulds and you oughts and they're not worthies. You throw that out and say, I love him. I love her. And I've already done everything necessary to pull them out of whatever pig pen they are, bring them home, and call them my son and daughter. And because of that reckless kind of love, we'll worship you for the rest of our lives. And we'll take this message that nobody's too far gone, nobody's too bad, and nobody's beyond grace because of your son, Jesus. And it's in his name I pray, amen.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. And you have been so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. And you have been so kind to me. We believe this. Sing it out today. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. And oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it, but still you give yourself away. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, yeah. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. And you have been so good to me, yes you have. And when I felt no worth, oh you paid it all for me, yes you did, yes you did, yes you did. You have been so kind to me, yeah. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn, and I don't deserve it, but still you give yourself away. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God, yeah. There's no shadow you won't light up, a mountain you won't climb up, coming after me, no. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me, no, no, no. There's no shadow you won't light up, a mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. That's right. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Lift it up today. There's no shadow you won't light up, a mountain you won't climb